The Stratocoaster is one of the most popular models to ever exist of a roller coaster, yet there haven't been many built. There have only been 3 that have been built ever, really. Number 1 has been King Ka, the tallest roller coaster in the world. Top Thrill 2, which is closed right now, and then the third one, which I have actually rode in, which is Superman Escape from Krypton. And there are 2 real sides to that, and today I'll be reviewing Superman Escape from Krypton. Let's get into this. What's up guys, Cam here. Before I get into today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and let's get into this. So there are two things that happen with Superman Escape from Krypton. As you see in the title, I think that the ride is a double-edged sword, and I'm going to be reviewing it as I have had 2 rides on it, and I'm just going to give my honest thoughts on it. So starting off is the location. At the top of the hill, it's extremely odd and extremely weird to have to walk up that giant slope. You do have to get to have the magic mover, but when you're coming from DC Universe or Metropolis, whatever you want to call it, I think I'm just going to call it DC Universe, it's very odd to have to walk up the whole thing to go to Superman. So that's definitely a downside, but when you see that whole entire plaza area, I think it's awesome. I love the big Superman logo, and when you walk into it, that nice sign that you see is actually really cool. Not to mention the queue has some of the best theming I've seen in a queue. That includes Disney. It's awesome. I love to see it. And Six Flags is just doing a great job on that. And I think that they've kept it pretty well or pretty well kept. It's not looking like there's a bunch of paint chipping on the rides. So yeah, that's a great upside for Superman Escape from Krypton. And then we head into the station, which isn't really a lot, but we have to talk about those trains. Those trains are kind of cramped. I mean, if you look at it, they're kind of cramped. Not to mention that one of the cars doesn't even have a restraint on it, so you can't sit in that seat. Just sad. I wish I could. No, I'm kidding. But I do think the cars are a little cramped. You don't really get a lot of space. But that's just what happens when you ride roller coasters by Intamin or Premier Rides. I'm talking about West Coast Racers, guys. That ride is terrible trains. But let's talk about the ride experience. So first off, there are 2 sides to it. Yet the forward side hasn't really launched in a while. It hasn't launched in, I don't know, amount of time. So the backward side is what I experienced. I've experienced the backward side twice, and it's really cool getting to launch backwards. You only get to launch backwards on roller coasters like Pantheon, or stuff with triple launches where you get to go forward, backward, and forward again. Now, I think that the ride is pretty good from there. You get to go backwards, you get to go up the giant spike, and then you get to go back down. I think that's an awesome experience. I think you get some pretty good hang time when you go through that spike, and then you go back down. And then you head into the station, which is still, you're going pretty fast when you hit the brakes. Personally, I don't think the ride goes 100 miles an hour. I think it goes something along the lines of like 85 to 90. But that's just what I think on the whole ride experience in general. Now let's go through some of the other stuff. First off, this ride is so loud. You don't really hear it from the ride itself, but when you get into the park, it is so loud. It's very hard to walk around the park without hearing it. The only places that you really can't hear Superman are in the Bugs Bunny area, which thank God it's a kids area. You shouldn't be able to hear a massive coaster going from that far. And then you can't really hear it from places like you can't really hear it from X2 and Viper, whatever that area is called. You can't really hear it from there, but honestly that doesn't really matter when you think about it, because basically the whole entire park, you can hear it. You can even hear it from the parking lot. You can hear Superman, which, while it's an amazing thing to have, it's a super menacing coaster with a big loud sound. It's awesome. Plus, if you're on Lex Luthor Drop of Doom, man, it must be an experience to have Superman running right next to you. That seems so awesome. I haven't been able to experience it yet. I really wanted to do Lex Luthor when I went, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. But what is the double-edged sword of Superman? So starting off, it is that it's a one-train coaster, so the line moves pretty slow. They don't really have a way that they can run two trains. They can only run one train, except if they run both sides, which they have not been doing as of recent. The ride is actually decently popular, so the line can get up to 2 hours long, which personally for me, I don't really want to wait in that long of a line. I went on a not so busy day, and yeah, that's just the one train operations thing. And also I've already talked about the loud noise is very annoying about it, but when you think about the other side, this ride is awesome. You get to see some awesome Superman theming. It's probably the best themed Superman coaster of any of the Superman coasters. It's really well themed, not to mention it's pretty well kept. And then you go through a pretty fast boarding process, which is also awesome when you get to have the doors open next to you. It's insanely cool. And then the ride experience, while being extremely short, is also a super life-changing. It's basically life-changing when you get to ride it being the fastest roller coaster you've rode. And honestly, it's not that intense. It's just really, really fast. And you don't realize how fast you're going until you reach the spike. You go through it, and it picks up speed throughout it, which, while being pretty sad, it's also one of the only coasters that does that in the United States. And it's a really unique sensation to not just be immediately going in full speed. You get to slowly build up that speed and then go up the spike. It's a really awesome coaster. But I think that this coaster will be removed soon, which is pretty sad to see. It had a motor kind of blow out of it recently, which I don't like to think about that. It's very bad. But two sides of the Superman. It's awesome. It's fast, but at the same time, it's short, and it can have a very long line at moments. And not to mention that this ride is closed a lot. I haven't been able to go up to Samurai Summit when I went in November, and when I went during spring break, the ride was open, which was when I went. But it's rarely open, and I don't think it's going to be open when I go. I'm going on Thanksgiving. I really wish I could see one of you guys there. Take a picture, I'd be happy to see you guys. But that's probably going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. I want to give a huge shout out to Kenobi Coasters and Airtime Throws for this Superman ride footage that you're seeing right now. Alright, I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.